I'm really excited. I've been listening to these songs seriously nonstop as you release them, every single one. I'm in love with this new record, man. You've done it again. So thank
Well,
you.
that's really nice of you to say. It's a nice feeling when like people are still like listening to the same band over a long period of time. It's like it's not a given that people are like, even if someone likes a band, they're usually just like, oh, I like the first and second record or something like that.
Right.
So it's nice that you're still into it.
Yeah, in fact, I was just talking with another artist a minute ago, and he'd been in a band back in the '90s, and they'd broken up, and they'd come back, and I sort of made the joke, and as a joke, I said, maybe every band should break up after 10 years, and then come back. But I'm really grateful that you guys haven't done that, or that you haven't
No,
done that.
and there's some bands that just like never. I mean, I know it's like they sort of get like it's always exciting, like oh, so and so reformed, but like I think there's I try to like appreciate bands that never go away. Like Yo La Tango's been around. Like they
Right.
never were like we're gonna break up and then reform. Like Pavement did that, and people were all excited. But I mean, I love Pavement, but I think Yo La Tango's a great band, and it's cool. They can just be like, yeah, we keep making records because we like doing this. Teenage fan clubs are like that too. Sometimes there's like bands that take a long time in between records because like stuff in life happens. It's like not like always easy. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel fortunate that I exist. Honestly, like, the only way you can define success or whatever is just by existing. It's like just being like when we were coming up, like there's so many bands that we looked up to and admired and played shows with and stuff, and just like almost all of them have like broken up or not playing music anymore or anything, and I just feel lucky that we still are. And thanks for the kind words, for sure.
Yeah, and this is, I mean, is 2017 officially like your 10th anniversary from that first EP?
Yeah, well, I mean, I guess from the release, yeah, we played our first show in March of 2007 at Peggy's birthday party with a couple of bands we really like called Manhattan Love Suicides and Titus Andronicus. And I think there was another band called Affair de Coeur. They were good too, but they weren't around that long and no one noticed them. But yeah, so it's like 10 years. And I guess, yeah, we put out that first EP, I want to say, yeah, probably like August 2007 or something like that, because we self-released it. After that, that was like, we didn't even have a drummer at that point. So it was all just like bad drum machine programming by me.
Well, happy anniversary.
Yeah, I can't even listen to that now. So it's like, whoa, I always joke like I don't know what I'm doing, but then I listen to like stuff from 10 years ago, and I'm like, I definitely did not know what I was doing at all. So I'm glad people still have fond memories of all that, for sure.
Yeah, now you just don't know what you're doing in a much better way. That's
Yeah, I mean, it's like I can hide the fact that I don't know what I'm doing a little bit. I guess it's like sort of like the thing. Like
there was a line you wrote maybe on Twitter, one of those recently, where you'd said, I'd be the president of the Pains fan club if I wasn't in the band. And
yeah, I don't think you're allowed to be president of your own fan club. That's sort of like egotistical. But I remember reading some. I think like there was some like quote from Robert Smith a long time ago that'd be like, if I wasn't in the Cure, I would be like an obsessive Cure fan, or I'd want to know what shade lipstick I was wearing, or like whatever. It was like something where it was like, I think so many times like bands are so down on themselves, or they're like sort of falsely like so up on themselves. But like my only goal is to be in my favorite band, It's like, or be in a band that's like would be my favorite band, like, and hopefully I get to make music that would be the kind of music I want to hear and the kind of music I would love. So I think it's good to be like not like into yourself or something like that, but just like excited about like what you're doing.
Yeah. I mean, it almost seems obvious because you would think a lot of artists are like that, but there are some bands out there that I don't get that feeling about. That like it's really fortunate that you would be able to be producing the kind of music that you want to hear in the world, especially if you're not hearing that music otherwise. Like, and I don't know if you have that case, your feelings about any kind of music these days, and I don't know that that's really what I'm asking.
I'm always surprised by how like people like think our music doesn't sound like music now. I'm always surprised. I'm like, we sound like, to me, like I'm like, oh, this is what 2017 sounds like to me. But like people are always like, oh, you guys are like doing this like 80s thing, or like you're like 90s, or like you're like this, or like no one sounds like this anymore. It's like weird. Oh, do you need me to go? Okay. Hold on a second. I gotta go grab my daughter. All right. Okay, I am back.
Okay.
That was just good. Okay, I have a 16-month-old daughter, and I didn't realize I had an interview like before, but I didn't realize it. And the guy called, and I was like on my way out the door to meet my wife for just a second, and then there was an absence of footwear on our baby. That you probably heard all that, but like, yeah, and just say it's like I try to be a good dad, but sometimes my child is barefoot and covered in ice cream.
I've been there. I've got one as well. So mine's 9 now. So, but he still ends up barefoot with ice cream all over him half the time. So it doesn't change.
Yeah, that's good. He survived. So that's like with enough ice cream, you can get over like some poor footwear choices. I know it's such an interesting thing, and a new thing for me to be contending with. But it's been awesome, and it's been great, and I'm just very, I don't know. Like, I mean, I would say I care about music more than anything else, but like I care about my daughter way more than that. It's
right.
just like this other level of like, just like no matter what happens with this record or the band or anything, I just want her to be all right and have a good life and enjoy hanging out with her dad. So I've been really trying to curtail like touring as much as possible. Like I didn't tour at all after she was born for anything, and then she's 16 months now, and then I'm going to try to keep my tours to like 2 weeks or under, just so I'm just not away for longer than that. Because it's like it's really hard to explain to a baby why like you're not there.
Right.
And it's it's like I mean you can be like, yeah, dad is working and he's like doing the thing he loves and trying to make something good in the world, but like you're still gone, like even if it's for good reasons. So there's going to be probably a lot less touring for this record than in the past.
And that's probably part of the bigger conversation right now too, because when an artist has a baby, that always seems to come up in the interviews about how babies factor in to an album, at least to the questioning of an album. But I mean, I really do get a feeling that your daughter being born had a huge impact even on the songwriting of this record and everything that went into it.
Well, a lot of it's a strange thing because like a lot of the music was recorded when my wife was still pregnant, and I think the experience of my wife being pregnant and anticipating her birth really influenced a lot of the things of how this record was made. And it was recorded in January 2016, and I mean, the reason it's only coming out now is because I've been busy. But I mean, I don't know like what anxiety means, but I was definitely worried a lot about the future and what it would really mean to be a parent and then trying to have this existence as like a musician and the travel and like if I'd be able to do it so much. And so I think, and then at the same time I wanted to really like, I had this sense that like maybe I wouldn't get to do this again, and I wanted to make it as good as I could as a sort of like, if it was the last time I got to make a record, I wanted it to be the best I could do and almost fulfill whatever promise or like thing I started at a long time ago to really end in a good way. I mean, I hope this isn't the last time I get to do that, but I wanted to make it really good for like, I didn't want to be a loser. I just wanted to make it something as beautiful and as good as I could do it. And for her and for my wife and just for a sense of like who I was as a human being. Like I realized being a parent, I just have to be better. Like, it's like the things you can kind of get away with in terms of your life, like when you're not someone's parent, are a lot different. I just realized I had to like get better as as like a person, just more responsible, just more with it, and all those things. Like you can define them however you want. But I did have this feeling where I had to be a better musician. I had to really not just take the easy way out of stuff, and I had to really try to make something that was really the best I could. Mm-hmm. And even the making of this record was tough because there's like real limits to like how much studio time we had and how we were able to do it. I did some of it on my own, and then I had my friend Andy come over from England. He's like a producer, and he worked on Days of Abandon too, and we had like 11 days in the studio.
Wow.
Maybe that sounds like a lot, but that's not really a lot. So we like really worked as hard as we could in that time. Like David Bowie died the second day in the studio.
Oh, man.
Not in our studio, but like that was like
right.
a really weirdly traumatic day. I know there's like more bigger problems in the world, but in January of 2016, like the sudden passing of David Bowie was like, I don't know. I just remember waking up crying when I heard the news.
Well, I think that's what makes this record so surprising. You were talking about how it confuses you why people tell you that you sound like the 80s or the 90s, and I'm not doing that at all by saying this. What I find is really interesting about this album, and now especially with everything that you just said right there, is that it sounds like a celebration. And that's different from every other album out there right now, because most albums I'm talking about, with people that were written post-Trump and were written, with race relations in mind, and there are a lot of darker records, and with the anxiety that you're having, this still feels like a celebration, a celebratory record.
And to be honest, like, I think if I were to say anything, I'd say Days of Abandon was probably a more downbeat kind of record. I mean, yeah, even though there was anxiety, there wasn't like the idea of this music, like songs like When I Dance With You and My Only, they were like really, it's not like it's not like, I feel like too often people think like things that are positive are like shallow and things that are negative or dark are like serious. And I don't view the world that way, but I do feel like, yeah, there is a real energy and uplift to some of these songs that, yeah, I mean, I was going through anxiety, but didn't mean I wasn't also excited about the future and wanting to do something that celebrated the life that was coming into my life and all that stuff too. And I don't know how to say it. It's just,
no, I get what you're saying.
Life is complicated, even in the best circumstances for everyone. And obviously it's like it was made at a time when, like the big choice was whether to vote for Bernie or Hillary in the primary. It's like, that was like that was the political raging debate, like around the time we were like making our record. So obviously the world has transformed in really unforeseen ways, but I understand why. I fully understand and support why like the art being made in 2017 is a lot different than the stuff that was being made in 2016. And it doesn't mean like these problems are new either. It's like, I mean, I think there's like a elevated conversation and understanding of what's been going on for a long time. It's like, it's not like all of a sudden like racism started in 2017 and stuff like that. These are like long-standing like I mean, these and artists have addressed these issues like, it's not like, yeah, it's like, I mean, like, yeah, for forever too. It's just like now it's like I think more people are really starting to understand it in a broader context beyond just like political music or something like that. I think people are understanding that this is like about everyone and important for everyone to address. But yeah, I mean, it was like,
that's sort of the benefit I think that you had then of writing these when you did and them not being released until later, is that you were able to kind of flesh this part of your life out, a very big part of your life, without also having to mentally deal, as we all have these days, with everything else that's going out. I mean, these songs are beautiful. As much fun as they are, they're also completely beautiful. The sentiment in When I Dance With You might seem simple on the surface, as you say. They can sometimes be perceived, but they are beautiful sentiments, and they're a lot of fun on top of that. So
I genuinely appreciate the kind words you have on the record, and I'm just grateful that I got to make it and that people hear it. And I don't know, sometimes people like think, I mean, I'm not like one of those big fans of like, oh, the mature record is like the thing you should be going for. Like, but it is nice when people kind of understand that like there's a lot of stuff that goes into life when you're like 37, and that you can still make hopefully good songs about that.
Yeah, and you're doing it, and keep doing it. Just keep doing it.
I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care, man.
Okay, thanks.
All right, bye.